Amazing. All right. So good morning, everybody. Officially now for Live with Nat for another week. Happy New Week. And my amazing author, Simon Gillmore, is here right next to me. And he wrote a whopping book, about 65,000 words, I think, Simon, The Control Center. Okay, understanding the nature and function of the subconscious so we can attract the life we want. So Simon, you and I met a couple of years ago, almost a couple of years ago, wasn't it?
March 19, yeah.
Yeah, 19, and then you came to the August 19
retreat.
And look what I'm wearing. I'm wearing my Superman.
I didn't notice before.
It was a superheroes theme,
Yeah.
or heroes actually. It was heroes. But I was dressed in a Supergirl outfit and all that sort of stuff. And you came. Hang on, let me see if was it Daredevil?
Deadpool, yeah.
Deadpool, that's right. And so, and then afterwards, obviously, you went on the journey of completing your book. So that's what we're here to talk about. A friend of mine is the topic title today. And what I'm going to do now, first of all, is I'm going to give you the official introduction of Simon, and then we're going to unpack a little bit because I'm always curious about the mind and how it works and how subconscious and all that sort of stuff. So here we go. So Simon Gillmore is the head honcho at the Control Center, a business based around serving people who feel stuck in their lives. The Control Center is a metaphor for the subconscious mind, the supercomputer behind controlling our experience. And while he's not trained as a psychologist, personal development, and in any other shape or form, psychiatry, he has had this lifetime obsession around understanding the subconscious mind, and in wanting to find ways to deal with his own demons of addiction, depression, and anger issues. He has covered a lot of ground over the years, devouring thousands of hours of materials, courses, books, and all that sort of stuff. So from that, his own experience, he deciphered and wrote his book, The Control Center, Understanding the Nature and Function of Our Subconscious Mind. And he's now a practicing life coach for the past 3 years. So yeah, the topic is a friend of mine, learning to work with or instead of against our most powerful asset. So Simon, I'm dying to dive into some of this stuff that you talk about in the book. So let's start with our Achilles heel. What do you mean by that when you mention that in your book?
Yeah. Like I say, I'm not a psychologist, but it was a bit of a pain point for me that, we all know we have a subconscious mind, and we all know we do things subconsciously, like without thinking. Yeah. And this huge, powerful thing in our lives seems to be something, that's disinteresting to people. But one thing that I found common to, you said I went through thousands of hours. I've read hundreds of books, but the one thing that I found common to them all was that it has no critical faculty. It has no ability to discern what, the language we use and when we're talking to it. So what I'm referring to in the Achilles heel is, the common thing that I found in so many, to all of this material, that it has no ability, the mind has no ability to discern between what's memories and what's imagination. These pictures in our mind have the same effect on our state that, we'll get to, the overarching effect of our state. So to me, it was kind of a secret passage into our mind that, we can alter our lives, with the use of pictures. Yeah. And I like I say, it's this huge, big, powerful thing, but, we can tweak it so simply.
Well, tell me a couple of tips you've got, so is it about creating and visualization?
The book or
the how can we control it? How can we kind of,
Yes, certainly. Okay, visualizations in particular, once again, the commonality that I've found in all of them is the more senses that we can engage, the more often we replay that story, the more real that we make that feeling, yeah. The more effective it is in altering our state. And of course, the state of deep relaxation, the hypnosis and the NLP stuff, the deeper the state of relaxation that we're in, the more receptive, open to suggestions that the subconscious becomes. So to me, there's no, they talk to us about grinding and working harder and doing all this hard yakka to get to where we have to be. And to me, this is the simple path, the creation of states, visualizations done in the deeply relaxed state is the most effective work that we can do.
Yeah, because you talk about the miracle of mindfulness, and is that where you would practice it, or is it through meditation?
I do, a systematic deep relaxations, just laying down and try and make the whole body, sort of feel like one, come back to those unconscious functions, that I'm not trained as a meditation or anything, as I, explain in the book, but I don't think that we have to be to, the breath, the heartbeat, and connecting the whole body as one. I think that's in itself, without the visualizations, has a really rejuvenating effect on our state, our health, getting all that nervous energy out of ourselves. Mindfulness, it's not something I sort of ordinarily associate with the visualizations, but yeah, in itself it was a huge reason why I wrote the book. The effect, the power of now.
Yeah,
attracted a huge audience, and myself in my life. It found me. Fell off the shelf like those books so often do.
Yes.
And at a time when I really needed it. But mindfulness in itself, I think is an amazing thing. We can do it any time, and most certainly, if we're talking about reprogramming our mind, then mindfulness is this means of clearing ourselves of habit energy and letting the past go.
So is that where you find people get stuck? What do you think keeps people stuck? Are human patterns very similar? Like, are we very similar in how we replay all those stories?
Yeah, look, we rely on reality. If we didn't have this certainty over who we are, what we stand for, who are we really? We this is the danger of us. Oh, do I really like this job? Do I really like what I'm doing? We need reality. We need that sense of structure, of certainty about who we are. But unfortunately, we don't sort of get the sense of those mental models that are created through that reality, the template from which we think, how structured it becomes, and how that becomes our limitation in itself. So, if there's anything about our reality that we don't like, once again, mindfulness is a means for us to understand how mind-made these situations are. The more mindful we become, the more we benefit from. I think the subconscious is always in a deep state of peace, and mindfulness is a means of moving towards that peaceful state and having that experience of peace enter our lives. And like I say, not just that we start to get a picture of how mind-made these situations are. Mindfulness is a we all talk about escapism, and many do it through all sorts of means, but that's what mindfulness is to me. It's the ultimate escapism. You're removing yourself from situations, moving the point of your attention away from what's going on. And when we do that, we sort of, the more we do it, and the more we focus on this practice of mindfulness and the mindful condition, the more we understand how mind-made this situation actually is, and how manipulable it is if there's anything undesirable about it.
So how do people implement some of these changes? Say that someone is feeling stuck, and maybe you've worked with a few of your clients over the years. What are some of the things that you find are common things that hold them back?
Not having a clear picture of a vision for their life, of what they want it to look like. I think the eyes in themselves, I don't know how freaky is this going to sound to people, but a very perceptive device and designed to spot differences in our environment. But unless we're certain of what that difference is that we are looking for, we alter the world outside of us by what we look for from it. So, how do we make, all potential is in front of us. How do we, a lot of it's invisible. How do we start to see it as, what is it that I want to see? Being clear on that, being clear on the type of things we want to start seeing in our life.
That's why you say open your eyes, right? Because
that's the next.
A lot of the time, I think you're right. People don't know what they want. You ask them, what do you want, and they start to and stumble upon their words.
Either the thing is too small to mention to me, or it's sort of, I don't want to tell them I want that. Like anyone can do that. Like, but it's these tiny steps of this is what I want, and that build our momentum and build our confidence that we're able to get the larger stuff. I mean, I don't think we have to share everything about what we want in our lives. If it's big and we're scared that we're going to fail, but we unless we make those
set those goals,
unless we make those decisions for ourselves, then inevitably we're handing the control of our life over to the program, to something that's ultimately out of our control. And that to me is like our entire experience, and how we feel is we still think we're doing the choosing, but we're not.
So your old programming, the one you were raised with and all that kind of stuff, can kind of control your life.
It most certainly does, and like I say, unless we make those simple choices of what do I want, how would that feel, how will my life be when I make, when those things are real in my life, and of course, who else benefits? There's more than just us in our lives, and most importantly, why do I want it? What's the reason? And then that becomes, then we become the deciders of meaning, rather than it being an unconscious compulsion that sort of seems forced on us. Then we don't have any control over how we feel.
Yeah, so that's what you're saying. When you say your control center, it's about understanding where your programming came from, and perhaps where you feel like you have been limited thus far, and then choosing to do something differently by setting some new intentions and reprogramming.
Yeah, I mean, it is that simple, isn't it? Really, I say some people don't want to tell me about the big stuff, but inevitably, unless we're excited by the result, then the mind sort of doesn't have any ability to show us what it can do. A perceptive shift can happen so quickly and so easily, but unless we're looking for that thing that's like entirely different, unless we're willing to get a little bit bent up, in the things that we want, then it's not able to, how am I going to work this stuff out? The how, this is the other commonality I think, in a lot of what I've read, is don't concern yourself with the how. The conscious thinks it has this path of this is how it must happen, and I do these steps, like, sometimes when you think it's fallen apart, it's days away from falling into place.
Yeah. It's like almost like when you're having the worst experience, you're on the brink of a transformation. Yeah. I get that, and
I'm sure
the conscious mind wants a linear, step-by-step thing, but the unconscious mind, needs to just know what it is and why you want it. And
just keep telling yourself that story, and like I say, keep up with the visualizations and the creation of state. To me, it's like the accelerator pedal of our life, and it's what allows us. We don't recognize the enemy in our life as those tiny, seemingly insignificant reactions, and the people that bother us when really it's trivial,
Yeah.
The idea that I try to share with people and try to create with people that, is for us to live, more tolerant and less bothered lives, because we understand the affective state, how much influence over our outcomes and our experience we have that we don't exercise.
Yeah, I agree. So what's your vision and goal for, your book? You wrote, as I said, you've got a lot to say about this, because you wrote a book and a half, I always say, and you currently also work, and you've had your journey, so what are some of the intentions of what you want this book to do for other people and for your business? What do you want, Simon? What do you want?
My intention will never change now. Like in this book, that was my original intention with writing it, was to try and, of all of this material, that I've devoured over the years, I wanted to do a best of self-help guide. And my intention from this now is to, how do I simplify it? How do I speak to people, what's their pain point, and how does the things in this, implement them? And it's always like, simplify it, make it shorter, make it something tangible, and I this did become something huge, and that, like, I make no apologies for that, but this was just a process of the writing. But sort of now, this is what I come to is, how do I make something more usable for people in their lives? And look, I said to you before, we went live, I am in a really good place, and I think a big part of what I want to share with people now is everyone wants that sense of purpose, that meaning in their life. And I think that the reason that they don't have it is we don't realize how much we mean to the people that are in our lives, how much we mean to them, how much they mean to us. This is the thing that really gives us our fire. And now we have this already, it's a reframe of what we have already, that, inevitably we're looking outside of all these things that we already have. And we already have a sense of purpose. We're already making a difference.
Yeah.
Just in the things that we do.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's like that book, The Alchemist. It's all there in your backyard.
Yeah. It's this huge journey. And like that, I think is similar with what happened to me. I come back around, and regardless of, where it appears I am in my business, I think this is for me to understand not just the difference I make to the people in my life, but the knock-on effect, how much that flows to all those people as well. This is what I think being more conscious is all about. Yes,
yeah, I guess spreading that, the awareness, because there is a point in life where we kind of go, is this all there is? And then down a path of personal development and kind of understanding a bit more about ourselves, you start to, it's like taking that red pill from the Matrix, and you go, oh shit, it's all up to me, I'm responsible, I can actually create, I can design stuff. I love it.
It's only through what we can do for other people that we get a sense of our value. And this is what I'm sort of come to my life, and what I try to share. People feel empty because they don't have this sense of purpose. It's only because they don't realize how much they mean to the people that are in their lives now. And this is not to say that that I don't have to do anything. It means that now we do everything with a sense of gusto and a sense of we want to lift people more so than we ever have. I totally agree. There's only a certain point. I read a book and it said you can only grow to a certain point yourself through personal development and understanding yourself, but the next level of growth is only possible when you can help lift other people. Exactly,
and you cannot and help them get to that point themselves. So that's, I guess, the biggest intention behind you pulling together all this information and making sense out of what you have read, listened, studied, and
Yeah.
putting it in the Simon Gillmore flavor.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I tried to do. I don't know if some of the message was lost, but like I say, you're asking me where do I go from this? It hasn't changed. It's just, I make it into something shorter, into videos, into, analogy stories,
Oh, totally. Because I think book is one thing. I think in order for us to contribute even more, we need to also give people different modalities in understanding information. I mean, this interview today is one way of you speaking about, your passion and what you have, kind of deciphered for yourself. And, and if that resonates with some people, they connect and you kind of go, yeah, awesome.
And just through, you inviting me here, it's sort of, it's a catalyst for me getting clearer,
Yeah.
Like, if I was going to talk to Nat, like, let's crack the juice again.
What I say to my authors, you got to externalize what's in here now. Like, you've studied, you've learned, but you got to bring words about the information that you really want to like put into someone else's head. Because the ultimate way we can make a difference if we become amazing communicators, and by writing a book, you have got out of your head and on paper. Now it's about actually speaking, so that, more and more you become succinct and to the point and like kind of simplified, like what you said.
And applying it to people's problems.
Exactly.
I think you said was on retreat, coaching is a tool. It's not a business. Unless you actually apply these tools, what are they? And the more acute that pain point that you take away, the more valuable the tool becomes.
Yeah, beautiful. So how long had you been thinking about writing the book, like before we met?
Look, one of the things I did, throughout all of this self-help writing, writing's very therapeutic for me. I just think it sort of helps your thinking. And look, at minimum, if people aren't doing a journal and a life right, like, they're selling themselves short. It's very important. But after I'd finish a book, I'd sort of try and put it in my words. And I think this was how the book came about. It was like, well, that thing, here's the common things from all of the stuff that I'm writing. I wanted to write a book all my life, 20 years, honestly.
Wow. Yeah.
And in particularly, in our small town, that there's a lot of depression, a lot of people that need this sort of stuff. Most didn't have access to it.
Yes.
And this is what I wanted to do. It began as something that short, I wanted, let's do a little pamphlet of all the best of self-help that I'd found, that would allow people to have access to. I mean, it didn't become that, through one reason or another, but
yes, yeah,
it was a huge opportunity, when I came to the half day for me to, oh God, I could actually have this thing. And, I believed after I left the half day that this, could be real and it could be better than I'd ever imagined. And man, indeed, it did become something, over and above what I expected when I, started the journey.
How many months after your retreat did you have it in your hand?
Oh, it was quite some time.
What was your retreat? Was it early the following year?
August, I was at retreat. And I think it was probably March or April that I had it in. I had it in hand in May.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of revising and a lot of.
You wrote a big book, and and you stuck with it. It doesn't matter. I always say, I just want people to finish. I said, there's some can take 2 months and some can take 8 or 10 or 12 months. And how'd you find the process then?
Of like the way that 48 hours ago.
The program. And
well, like I say, at the half day, for you, I mean, everything that you say a book is, it's the authority, it's the a sense of, it's what you're contributing, all of that like appealed to me, that you could speak it out. Like, I mean, hadn't occurred to me either. It's like, well, I could actually have this bloody thing in a couple of months. I mean, that wasn't the process, but for me to be a part of, your family and the tribe that you've created, I don't get that at work, with my colleagues, but, it's a huge group of like-minded, and what's the old saying, the strength of weak ties. These aren't people that I'm associated with a lot, but, your tree, has branches everywhere, and of all forms of life and groups of people. So being able to connect with that difference of people, it was amazing to think that I'm going to have this thing, and I mean, I'm flying down to the retreat thinking, righto, mate, you're so out of your depth here. What are you doing? And I think standing up, presenting my thing, I'm like, a bit stuttery and all that in a group of, highly educated people, and but they made me feel like I belonged, And,
oh yeah, you were only man at that retreat, aside from Stuart. And but the only author, and they those women, just fell in love with you, like,
man, it was, like I say, there was never any, this is what I got over and above writing the book, is belonging to that
community. We often get told that, and the fact that it does feel like a family, and that we do stay in touch. I mean, this has been 2 years on, and we're having a chat again, and we're talking about you coming over to my birthday party and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, it's it's a relationship that never ends, because although sometimes I'm doing my thing, and you're obviously always doing yours, that I've got someone I can reach out to, that has a huge network.
Totally. And we're always there, and we always say to authors, you're meeting us at this half day or online half day, this is kind of the very, very beginning. Our journeys with people are, I would say decades long, because I'm still in touch with all these. I started 11 years ago. So, and I'm still have so many people that have been in my life. And one of my authors is writing his 5th book,
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like, YL, he's based in Perth. I interviewed him about 3 or 4 weeks ago on one of these, and so he's onto his 5th book, and many authors. I mean, Dr. Beck, who was at your retreat, she's 2nd book about to be handed in.
Oh, nice.
I'm just trying to think who was at your retreat. Where Libby's like committed to doing her 2nd book as well. So like there is, that kind of and I know how addictive writing books is, because I've done.
I mean the process. That's what I say. When I'm going through this thing, it became something other than what I set out to do, just because of how writing evolves you as a thinker and as a person.
Totally, So where can people buy the book?
Sorry,
where can they buy the book?
From my website. I only started another fan page yesterday on Facebook, which is also the Control Centre. But the controlcentre.com.au, is the website, but I did a Facebook fan page. I only started yesterday, and the website's quite new too. I did have a website prior to this, but I wanted to sort of focus on those people that lack a sense of meaning. This is sort of my niche, and the people I want to target. So
beautiful.
I've gone in a new direction, really, so that the content is more usable.
I love it. So go there, and also the book is also online as well, on Amazon and all that kind of stuff. If you need to look it up, it's called The Control Centre by Simon Gillmore with 2 L's.
It's pretty, isn't it?
I love the cover. It's very striking. And we talked about a lot of your clients are male. Is that right? It's more. Is it?
Definitely. Yeah.
And I would say that
people who wouldn't ordinarily, encounter or pick up a book or understand what personal development is. And so, and this is the idea of coaching, and what I was saying about the mental templates and all that. Like, we are not able to ask ourselves the questions, but an outsider can so simply
Oh yeah.
What makes you so, why are you so certain of that? And it's not until I don't know, maybe that's not as, solid a belief as I thought it was. It's just that we're not designed to question the limitations that we put on ourselves.
Well, you're definitely an example, and always say has to be integrity behind a topic or how you want to help people, that you have done this and walked the path and you're in a great place and you're able to then, pull people along on the journey. And, so if anyone knows anyone that would connect with Simon, I think we don't attract people that are too unlike us. They generally our clients are us and we are our clients. I always say that. And I think you're perfectly positioned for the people that need your help. Yeah.
Anyone who to me, who lacks a sense of purpose. I mean, it's a simple reframe. And I think that, having that meaning in our life is fundamental to everyone. We feel empty and like we don't have value. I think that's a brainwashing, that our society has done to us. Like I say, if we just understood what the people in our life mean to us, it's a game changer, and it has been for me.
Yeah.
And as was writing the book, man, it was. If I could show you the guy that first went to your half day, he's unrecognizable, through this whole journey, regardless of, I still work full time. This isn't, this will be my business soon. But regardless of where you are in that journey, it's the difference that we make to people now that is more important, that we understand.
Well, you know what I say, a few people have said that was great. Some people have joined us to go, they're watching it. So I'm sure check out some of the comments once we get off. But, I say, the writing the book is not about the book, but about the person you become at the other end of it.
I remember you saying that. And yeah, absolutely.
And it's so true for the first book. So I'm really, really glad we got to connect again.
Oh man, thank you so much
for
having me, inviting me.
My live with Nat on Monday mornings, and I see Lindy's posted your link up under the live, and this will also go out on YouTube and all sorts of different places. So if anyone is interested more in what Simon does, or get his book, The Control.
Yeah, on the website, there's a contact me, and I say at the bottom of it, look, I'd love to hear about people's journey, where they are, what they want, and anything that any way they might be able to help me or me then. It's I just like talking to people.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you, Simon, and
thank you.
See you up north soon. Bye.
Bye, guys.